Metropolitan Television. I am Paul. It's proudly brought to you in association with the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Ghana Revenue Authority, Goyle Company Limited, Serene Insurance, and Ghana Link Network Services. They are implementers and operators of the Integrated Customs Management System, ICUMS. The program is also streamed live on our social media handles, Facebook and YouTube at IONPod Ghana. You can get there and watch us. Along the line, we shall be activating the phone lines for you to call in, and then you can make whatever contribution you have to make. If you have questions based on today's subject, you'll be permitted to do so. Remember, our WhatsApp line is 0559-019-177, 0559-019-177. You can send us. It's also shown every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television. My name is Kennedy Mona. We'll be back after this break.
Every now and again, Goyle makes good things happen. This time, Goyle has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives, and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 is designed to improve for several kilometers. Goyle Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience. That is, there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goyle has that sorted. Goyle, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Oh, how are you?
Hi Yvonne, a few words please. Everyone is talking about the fire at your production house last week. How are you holding up? Has production stalled?
No, not at all. My crew and everyone on my set is perfectly fine because I insure with Serene Insurance. As a matter of fact, I've had all my equipment replaced, including the vehicles that were affected. My workers have been sorted out. Even my production downtime has been covered, so it's all good. I have a meeting to attend to, so I have to get going. Sorry about that.
Which insurance company did you mention?
Serene Insurance, the new face of insurance, a member of First Sky Group.
You're welcome back. Remember, our media partner on this show is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. If you want to know all that transpired on this show tonight, make a date and grab a copy of the Thursday edition of the Business and Financial Times, and you'll be brought abreast with all that transpired here on the show. Now, we would have to take a look at some of the happenings in the port and maritime industry in the course of the week, and we woke up once again to the sad news of yet another piracy attack in which some 5 experts, again, were abducted. This brings to 2 the number of pirate attacks within a space of 2 weeks. This recent one took place in the waters of Benin. Again, the Takrady port also organized a passing out ceremony for some security personnel who passed out, went on a training and passed out. And indeed, the Shippers Authority also organized a sensitization and education program for some transit truck drivers and owners in the port of Tema. Let's take a look at these stories.
4 Koreans and a Filipino have been abducted from a Ghanaian registered fishing vessel in another piracy incident in the Gulf of Guinea, Benin waters to be specific. The latest incident, which happened on May 31, 2021, between the hours of 1910 to 1945, saw 6 pirates armed with AK-47 rifles board the commercial fishing vessel Irish 3 through her starboard side. Narrating the event, the second officer Mark Afedi-Mensah said, hours prior to the attack, they spotted an unidentified tanker near the horizon but could not at the time establish whether that was a mother vessel of the pirates or not. He said the darkness combined with the tactics deployed by the pirates made it impossible for them to deploy evasive maneuvers.
They came from behind the nets, so no one knows exactly the time and when they bang on us. And moreover, over there was total darkness.
An assigned observer from the Fisheries Commission said, though no crew member was harmed, the pirates, during their short stay, disabled the vessel's automatic identification system and rummaged the cabins of the vessel for crew's belongings.
According to the bridge boy, he said they asked the captain that, where's the money? If he has money, they will leave them. But the captain told him that at least this is our first trip, and then we just say so there's no money on board, and then it's a fishing vessel. What they said that they are not here for us, they are only here for the Koreans. That's what they said.
The Navy, after receiving information on the attack, guided the vessel to the port of Tema in the early hours of June 1. Investigation on the crew kidnapping are still ongoing. This is the second piracy incident on a Ghanaian vessel in less than 2 weeks, as it would be recalled that another fishing vessel, Atlantic Princess, was also attacked 65 nautical miles south of Tema, indicating an expansion of the range of pirates. The Ghana Shippers Authority, in collaboration with its stakeholders in the trade and transport industry, has held a sensitization workshop for hauling truck drivers and owners on key issues that impact the conduct of transit trade along Ghana's corridors. Key among the issues discussed include road safety, the transportation of dangerous and hazardous cargo, as well as the hauling truck drivers' role in avoiding unnecessary cost in the shipment of transit cargo through Ghana's ports. The Chief Executive Officer at the Ghana Shippers Authority, Benonita Bismarck, in a speech read on her behalf, said quarterly fact-finding missions embarked upon by her outfit on the transit corridor unearthed serious infractions of Ghana's road traffic regulations, police harassment, and malpractices at the axle load stations.
The outcome of the latest fact-finding trip, which was done only last week, on the Tema-Hamley corridor, recorded 55 police and MTTD stops.
The General Manager in charge of Marketing and Corporate Affairs at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Esther Jebidonko, who served as the chairperson for the program, said the reformation process of the Joint Association of Port Transport Unions, embarked on by GPHA and the Shippers Authority, is intended to improve unity and effectiveness among the transport unions.
The Port Authority would not license any transport union to operate in the ports if it is not part of JAP2 arrangements. It is practically impossible for the Port Authority and indeed other stakeholders to deal with individual transport unions to achieve policy objectives in the operations and management of our port economy.
She said, with the Port Authority making necessary investments in the transit trade, such as the construction of the truck park at Paga border, the onus lies on other stakeholders within the trade, such as the truck drivers, to adhere to security and operational guidelines at the ports in order to be competitive. With the help of demonstrations, the Environmental Protection Agency and the National Road Safety Authority underscored the importance of following safety guidelines for the protection of drivers, cargo, society, and the environment. The Executive Secretary of the Joint Association of Port Transport Unions, Ibrahim Musa, said the issues discussed will inure to the enhancement of their operations. The Director of the Port of Takoradi, Captain Ebenezer Afeidi, has stated that Ghana's ports are committed to ensuring its human resource have the requisite capacity necessary for the delivery of world-class services to its clients. The Director of Port, who was speaking during a passing out ceremony of 72 security personnel, said it is in this light that the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority organizes regular and mandatory training programs for its new recruits.
Today's ceremony signifies Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority's commitment to uphold and fulfill its national and international obligations for ensuring world-class standards of security in its facilities.
The 72 recruits successfully passed out following a month-long intensive training at the 2nd Naval Base, where they obtained the essential physical preparedness and intellectual skills for the discharge of duties as security personnel at Ghana's premier port. Captain Afezi admonished the recruits to always exhibit the GPHA core values of humility, integrity, and hard work in the discharge of their duties.
You have been taken through voice procedure, drill, physical training, port security ethics, and other academic courses. These, in no doubt, have equipped you with the requisite knowledge, skills, and confidence to be able to effectively discharge your duties as port security staff.
Saturn, diesel XP, and so go filling station and service station.
And one of the at the Amam, but we are better be a 95 and I attend. As you think to me, a dry girl at the soft workman. And it's on our Super XP, Diesel XP, XP3 and the boom. But flow, yeah, necessary. So, with the treaty. Other OMCs now omunti, you know. Of course, now we two boho, Yama, Yama, omunti, Unuma, Udaya. Sansina, Safuano, a coal, Kamwa, a how engine. SPG additive now, a work well flown. A young be brave. So, we talk if we were girl, we never have be brave. We come or say, a thing is ya, we see the mouth. Say, if you phone a change a few mouth, a cleaning injectors mouth, a fancy amount more mileage. But I only go through a little easy as program. What the car in our car, with ya every day. Easy year, the amount of things you can learn your better time. I'm a talk well, the who can an anti-assistant. Ro 95 for no, if I saw a Benyano, and the SP3 no, a man here extra power, time 3. Not to say a bonanza, and I'm a extra bonanza. Yo, now where the Matthew, now, Rupa, Maka, and yes, baby, you say, go no, would you go, okay, more system no, come on. At times, I need to injectors, you could injectors in here, but me used to go no, in family, be uncle, baby, as I'm a copeg injectors. Come me to quite Diana, I am Ameba, I can't see her, the poor, and Ameba. Yes, me recommend more beer. So, car who used to Diano, the best food I meet my, I recommend your Maui. Go.
Me used to go for no, my whole difference be pray. I was driving a human. First, na me used to kokoni bi, but me used to kokonwa. Se sia na me engine na wu. Na nwusie ba be pray. But me used to go for no. My hunu say enwusie no e mato. Ana esan so maka edwane. Ana esan so yi car mu engine mu efin. National no your stations in about 450, I go 460. Baby abeko bia ubenya super SP 95, ubenya diesel SP 95.
North, south, east and west, we always stand for the best. Goil, goil, goil.
You're welcome back, and that was the Goil TV market, which came to you from the Kasi service station all the way from the Ashanti region. That's the regional capital, Kumasi. Now, on the 1st of June 2020, we implemented the Integrated Customs Management System, that's the ICUMS, in the port. Now, this was after it had received a lot of resistance from some stakeholders in the industry. They thought that this would not add anything new to the already existing system or what had already been deployed in the port. But 1 year down the line, the story seems to have changed, with many alluding to the fact that indeed it has helped in terms of revenue mobilization and in terms of trade facilitation in particular. Is that really the verdict? Tonight, that's what we are assessing on the show. I have with me in the studios to my right, Mr. Emmanuel Ohene. He is the Deputy Commissioner of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority in charge of the suspense regimes. He's also the ICUMS Implementation Committee Chairman. And to my right is Mr. Yauche. Mr. Yauche is the president of the Association of Customs House Agents Ghana, ACHAG. He's also an astute freight forwarder with several decades of service to this country in this particular industry. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Let me announce to listeners that along the line, we shall be hearing from the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Indeed, when we're planning for this particular program, we had to go and speak to him for a few minutes and get his assessment of the system so far and whether he's satisfied with what the GRA has achieved with the system. And so we'll be hearing from him, and we shall also be hearing from officials of ICUMS, that's Ghana Link Network Services. We shall be speaking to the operations director of that company. They rolled out this particular system. And so it's a packed program tonight, and I wish you stay and enjoy it. Remember, I announced to you that our WhatsApp line, for which you can send your text messages to, is 0559-019-177. We'll be glad to pick your text messages and read them. And along the line, you'll also have the opportunity of calling in. I'll announce the phone lines when the time is due. So let me start with you, Mr. Ohene. You must be a satisfied man, a man who led the charge, the hurly-burly, the troubles and all that, you surmounted all of them. And today you are listening to some of these people who vehemently opposed the system, indicate that, yes, it's indeed been very helpful. What was your assessment initially?
Good evening, and thank you, Ken. Let me first of all bring greetings from the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority and from our very hard-working Commissioner of the Customs Division, and the ICUMS team, which is out of Accra as we speak, deploying the system as best as we know how to. It's been 1 year of challenges, but there has been some modest gains, and we find fulfillment in what has transpired so far. I must, however, admit that there is still a lot of work to be done, and so there is no room for complacency or a sense of, having achieved everything. We started with the deployment originally with the outstations, the customs frontier stations, in March of 2020, where we deployed in places like Elubo, Aflao, Paga, Hamile, Kulungugu, and continued to the tax-ready collection in April of 2020. Then we onboarded the KIA the same month of April. Then in May, we went into the petroleum management for the ICUMS. And then finally, from the 1st of June 2020, we deployed in Tema and at the Accra collection. And the first month was what a Frenchman would say, very bouleversant, very troubling and challenging. But God indeed has been good to us. And with the cooperation of all the stakeholders, I must take this opportunity to thank and congratulate the stakeholders who took a lot of pain to contain the situation together with us and offer very constructive criticism and help, for us to fine-tune our act in the first, few months of deployment. And as we speak today, I can say that the situation which, we experienced a year ago cannot be said to be the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so let me come to you, Mr. Che. You are those that are using the system. What is your assessment of ICUMS 1 year down the line?
Thank you very much, Ken. Initially, we had very genuine complaints about the system. Our complaints basically was about the way it was being implemented. I'm sure you might have heard of press conferences, statements here and there, opposing the way it was being implemented. Yeah, our beef was that the transitional period wasn't well organized. After it had been postponed for on about 3 different occasions, finally, when it was being implemented, there were still a lot of potholes in between. We are not, well, we were not against ICUMS. And for that matter, freight forwarders do not also have the option as to what type of system the government may even decide to bring into place. We may criticize, we may give suggestions as to how it should be implemented. And secondly, we also don't have the powers to tell government that go in for company A or company B. As far as we are concerned, if the system is good, if the system is well organized, and we will also benefit and the government will also benefit, why not? Yes, but I must also say that ICUMS initially had problems. And we also did our best to criticize, suggest, and we cooperated massively with them to see the system as we have now. So I'm sure they might have also appreciated the fact that our criticisms were not for no reason. Whatever we said at those times were things that we said to make the system better. And we are also happy that at least as at now, the system is far, far, far better. As at now, we are very, very proud to say that the system has produced a processing time, clearance time, even within a day or less, you should be able to clear a consignment from the port. Previously, the best time would have been maybe 3-5 days. Yes, but now, all things being equal, you should be able to clear consignment in a matter of hours.
Okay, so what you're saying is that because you have used these systems that have been deployed so far, throughout your career at the ports, and you are using the current system, and your assessment or your verdict on ICUMS is that it supersedes all those other systems that you have used.
Definitely supersedes all other systems. From the manual system on Secuda, GCNet, up to what we have here, is the best system now. And I think every freight forwarder will attest to this. Before I even came here, I had some conversations with freight forwarders. I had interviews with them. I called them at random to give me a very candid opinion of what the system is now. And the overwhelming verdict is that ICUMS is doing marvelously well, even though we haven't gotten there yet. But then what we have now is quite good. And we are very happy about it, and we are still talking to them. We are still making suggestions as to how to make the system better. For example, payment of duties. As at now, you can pay duties far ahead of the arrival of the vessel. So if you have the money sitting down in your account doing nothing, you may decide that, look, even 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and all my documents are ready, I've gone for my assessment, I can even pay the duty. Now, what advantage do I have? The major advantage the importer has is that he may even avoid the increment of the rate of exchange. For example, if this week was 5.6, the following week could be 5.8. So if you pay your duty now, you are off the hook. Now, the advantage to the government too is that whilst even the vessel is not in, we haven't even cleared the goods, the government has access to the money from the importer. We are not, the importer doesn't have to wait and keep the money in his bank account or in his house and wait till the arrival of the vessel before he pays the duty. So he can even give the money to the government. Government, take my money, use it even before the arrival of the vessel, even before I clear my goods. Make use of the money 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even 1 month before the vessel arrives. So I think in these lines, the ICUMS system is marvelously doing very well. Aside electronic e-processing. E-processing, you can even sit in your office and do everything. You can even sit in your car and do your processing outside the country. You can still do your processing. Yes, and we also have the one-stop shop. You don't have to be opening too many windows. Just a window should be able to help you go through your processing. I think that ICUMS has done marvelously well, and we must congratulate them as at now.
Okay, so let me come to you, Mr. Ohen. One of the cardinal reasons for which you rolled out ICUMS was the fact that people thought that it would seal loopholes and then enhance compliance levels. Has this been achieved?
In a very modest way, yes. We can attest to that. You know, one of the engines of the whole system is to have a very robust cargo management system. And then the system also has encouraged voluntary compliance. And so once you know there is voluntary compliance, it's much easier to get the system to flow and ensure that, you know, loopholes that would hitherto have been, you know, created are now blocked. I can cite one simple example. In the area of, you know, reliefs and exemptions, for instance, before the processing your exemptions and your reliefs, now the system now configures the exemptions and reliefs to your tax identification number. So if you are not entitled to a relief from your tax identification number, you cannot, you know, have that kind of relief. And that is a very major, you know, area where, you know, we have been able to, you know, block some loophole. Right. Again, in the area of compliance, you know, management, because the community that is operating the ICUMS now is a port community, what institution A is doing can easily be verified by institution B. So there is a level of transparency that ensures that all the players involved are on the same page. So in a very, you know, to a very large extent, I will say that the loopholes have been, you know, closed, and some are still being in the process of, you know, we are still developing the system to ensure that we can reduce to the barest minimum the incidences of fraud. Yeah.
All right, so let me still stay with you and find out from you what the level of coverage is. You just intimated to us in your opening submission that you were on your way up north, you know, to roll it out.
Paga in Kulungugu. By the end of this week, God willing, ICUMS would have been onboarded in Pulimakum, in Namu, in Mognori. This is in the upper East region, and in Zebila. Tomorrow, God willing, I'll be in the Upper West region. We are onboarding stations which already have the ICUMS presence, but they have not started, they have not been activated yet, like Bole, like Tumu. We already have ICUMS presence in Hamile, Tumu, and Laura. Okay. So when you come down to the what is now being divided into Bono, East and West, you have ICUMS presence spanning from Sampa, from Nkrankwanta, Atuna, Yakrum, Osai Kojokrom is the Western North region. A team is en route to Osai Kojokrom now to onboard the stations. If you look at the totality of offices that ICUMS is onboarded so far, we have done close to 93% of the country.
And day one, there's a commissioner order. All agents should do this. Day two, task force 1, task force 2, and all that. Maybe the government may not be getting missing at the port. At times, even when the containers even are dropped from the vessels, by the time you say, Jack, where are you? It's out of the port. Now,
I think this is a topic we'll have to discuss seriously one of these days, because I mean, containers just getting missing from the port like that. There seem to be some.
But there is sanity in the system now. There is sanity. Before the vessel arrives, you have your manifest. You know how the containers would be dropped, and the containers being transported from the shipyard to the terminals go through a process. Go to quite some process of submission and approval, so that it's very difficult for any container to get out of the way. So it makes things quite easy for us. Secondly, to automation. Automation comes with it some sort of compliance and sort of So if the system is quite automated and we have this e-processing system, it's very difficult for us to say the under-invoicing, over-invoicing, fraudulent way. At times, even people have to fraudulently clean CCVRs and documents, BOEs and all of this. Now you can't do that. When you submit a document, you don't have access to your document again. It goes through a system, and the next customs officer can access it through the system. So you don't have any access to even make any changes. if you need to make changes, it has to go through a proper official process.
Right.
So there's no way for some of these things to be colluded with. But so I must say that we are happy about the system.
Okay.
We are happy.
In terms of the coverage, we have seen substantial improvements in terms of the speed and efficiency at the ports, and we expect that we'll continue to see more of such improvements. We have seen the opportunity for people to do the manifest and even put things there even before the ships arrive, and therefore the time it takes them to go through from the declaration to the end of the process and to clear their goods have been reduced significantly. And previously, if we were able to do 48 hours, then it was like you have done something extraordinary. Today, the 48 hours has become the norm. In fact, people can even do less than 48 hours. But previously, for you to do 48 hours is like a miracle. But it's not happening like that today. In terms of tracking, there's more effective tracking that we have today than we have previously. And when we come also to revenues, we have seen a significant increase in revenue. If you take the average revenue before, say, June 2020, on the average, we are doing about 800 to 900 million per month in terms of the revenue that we were getting. From then up to today, if you look at the average, we are doing an average about 1.3, 1.4 billion per month. So which shows that we are doing about 300 to 400 million monthly. And I always tell people that if you multiply the 300 to 400 million per month for 12 months, you're already talking about more than almost 6 billion of revenue addition just for 1 year. We have done our own analysis. We have looked at the CI values of the things that are coming through. We have looked at the volumes of imports and exports to see whether there are any significant increases in those areas. But we haven't found that there has been any significant increases in those areas. Therefore, clearly, there is about 3 areas that we can look at, that there are leakages that have now been sealed, and therefore you get more revenues coming through. Number 2, with the efficiency that we are having, you are likely to have some sort of more diversions in terms of people trying to use our ports more than the other areas. Though, as I said, if you look at the figures, those increases are not very, very significant, though there is some amount of increase in terms of the CI values of the volumes that come through. And therefore, that also has contributed significantly to the revenues. Furthermore, I also want to say that, when we're doing the implementation of ICUMS, we had to look at all the stakeholders. We had to look at the shipping agents, we had to look at the shippers themselves, we had to look at the clearing agents, we had to look at the various parastatal government organizations, and we involve all of them in the implementation. And it's because the ICUMS is a community system, the port system, that ensures that everyone who has a role to play as far as the system is concerned or the ports are concerned are part of it. And therefore, it becomes very, very difficult for you to be able to play one against the other, because whatever you see in one area is also seen by the other. If it's a terminal operator, what he sees is the same thing as the shipping agency or the shipping agency will see. If it is something that the terminal operator will see, EPG will see the same thing, customer will see the same thing. And therefore, it allows for effective monitoring. Unlike previously, where you have various other systems that are trying to send data to one another. If you take even things like the exchange rate to look at what people have to pay, previously, you have to always constantly go there and then try to find out what was the exchange rate, because you couldn't clear the goods on a particular day, then how much you have to pay. This one is all online. So every day when you go, you know what exchange rate is applicable and it's applied on the system, and you don't have any disputes between a clearing agent and an importer and things like that. These have all been properly integrated into the system. So far, we are happy, but we don't rest on what we have been able to achieve, because there are several modules in the system, and what we did was to implement the key standard modules to begin with. And so this year we have plans to introduce other modules, and the other modules will include other things like effective auctioning. And our aim has been to automate this process. Within ICUMS, there is the functionality, and this year we intend to be able to implement that functionality in the ICUMS systems. ICUMS have been one of the most successful initiatives that we have seen, despite the initial challenges.
All right, so you welcome back. You heard the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority giving a very, very lucid, assessment of the system 1 year on. Let me come to you, Mr. Ohene. He has seen some reduction in terms of cost, but let me find out from you. Do you think that ICUMS has reduced cost of doing business?
To a large extent, I would say yes. I would say yes because if you spend 48 hours in processing documents just to clear, and another 48 hours in the clearance process itself, and now you can spend 48 hours for the entire process, you certainly have saved cost in time, and it could also translate into finances. Okay, we have also introduced the payment systems which now ensure that you save time in making payments from the comfort of your home. Prior to ICUMS, we had only 2 participating banks. As we speak, we have onboarded 23 banks. We have the national payment platform known as the Ghana.gov, and we also have the mobile money. So the cost you would have incurred in walking to the bank or driving to the bank, and the security of even the money. We had instances at the port where people were late and their monies they were going to pay at the bank for custom duties were taken from them. You have cut all of these things out. Certainly you would save on that. Again, because of the efforts at having efficiency and an efficient system, it would certainly translate into saving cost and time in doing business. Right. So back to the issue of the e-auction. Let me just indicate that I would not only want to speak about the e-auction, but I'd like to tell you about the
other models,
and innovations we have in place. But to speak about the e-auction, it is a work in progress which we hope to have roll. Okay, the system will generate the processes such that once it is due for auction, it will be duly gazetted, and then there will be an opportunity for the state to rake in the revenue through electronic means of auctioning goods, so that what we or you are clearing a shipload of cargo, you can take delivery X ship without having to send the cargo to a holding area and then take delivery out of them later. Okay. So the direct delivery has been recently introduced. Last week, we had an engagement with a section of the freight forwarders to introduce them to what you call a dispute resolution module as well. Okay. So with the dispute resolution module, we are now able to process appeals electronically by just filling a form. If you have a consignment or documents that is in dispute with valuation or classification, by just filling a form, you can process your dispute and have resolution in a matter of hours. These are all designed to ensure that we can save time in our processes. We also have the advanced passenger information systems, which is to be introduced at the airports very soon. And this is a system which integrates other systems for the security agencies such as immigration, customs, maybe the NIB at the airports, where we profile passengers and their cargo to ensure that they receive the appropriate risk treatment for their consignments and their persons. And this advanced passenger information will share information on all cargo and passengers coming by air, so we can determine who poses a high risk or his consignment poses a high risk or not. We have also reached a very advanced stage in the introduction of the what you call the authorized economic operator. Okay, this is simply one of the canons of the World Customs Organization, where the members of the trading public who are able to fulfill some spelled out conditions will have their consignments treated in a very special manner. What do I mean by the special manner? What it means is that they will have less customs interventions in the clearance process. So it is possible that your cargo can arrive at the port and you go through customs without any customs intrusion. So those who are able to comply with the authorized economic operators will have, this opportunity. And it is already in a very advanced stage where some players at the port are already going through some form of testing and the like. We also have what we intend to introduce, which is known as the e-wallet. Okay. When you speak about the e-wallet, for the transit, Ghana being a member of the ECOWAS, the ECOWAS is introducing something you call the SIGMAT, which is to develop easy passage for goods that are in transit. The SIGMAT is in the process of being integrated into the ICUMS to ensure that there is a seamless, movement of cargo along our corridors to, the countries in the sub-region. When we look at the petroleum area as well, which is a very huge revenue area, ICUMS is in the process of developing the petroleum stock management system, which will ensure that in the system. And it is our expectation that, before the end of this year, we should see them actually not any longer as work in progress, but see them in our